Ghanaians are enjoying what NPP government did. Stop lying to them.
It just doesn't make sense at all.
What has the NDC done for the past 12 months? NDC government has not done anything yet.
Ghana for ebufuo wo de koye kwoto abadi NPP no mo say huru wo mo hye wo mo bufuo.
When it comes to oral, I want to assure the Ghanaian public.
Adebia kukuku no efomu and the bonus no. Yen at cocoaboard and so your bonya den. Your bo enjo so.
Yen samai fo nyina kwaba ebiem emra dwumadi esu ya sanso Francia. And sama ekoso oh my Ghana mu. Yede ni nyina ebre I for operation recover all loot. Attorney General kwako din komo bi amazia me no kasei. Ensem bebre e refreche e ba quick one. Yebe rom na fe no ye din komo na Ghana fododo na ebusa se NPP krono wo mo boy no ekwan bia so. It was His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ene na ban ede wo mo efamra kwa so na fe no oman no ye gin sika ba quick one ye bero na fe so ye din komo NPP amarekuo no ene minority no gusua e din komo se na na kwa Kufuado ene Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia adwuma pa wo mo ye no eno nanam so amasisia me no kasei eniema ekoyie ewo oman Ghana ensani beto dwa no His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ene na dwuma efo abusia wo mo bofu papa na ensem bebre so ene freche e ba quick one yebero na fe no ye dinkomo na bibia ay kama after say inflation e drop by 3.8 no still minority no gusua e dinkomo say eniema so ntete ye but then wo mo dinkomo wie no Ghana for e tuja e de mane minority no ene NPP when semfofo bi ni aboabo no a yede ni nyina ebre ayfo afenso so no ye bebora cocoaboard na nanse ye behwa akuafo esu omo se ai wo mu koko no wo mu tekwa no a ye nto na eno nanam so ama cocoaboard ene nchechemu ni nyina aba ene na ekoso ewo ho baransa no yenkotie nsamu a seka ede atudwa na abushe koba ensamu ache papa seka din komo wie no Ghana fo so edin komo bi ewo che the quick one ai be 1 minute pe ore yeni kanti we mra ne koba fire ne beto aso.
Yeah, I am surprised that my brother Adongo and my chairman, he is talking about interest rate, inflation and other things. Today, Mr. Speaker, I want us to invite any professor to come. We are tired of this propaganda. What has the NDC done for the past 12 years?
12 months.
12 months, sorry. What have you done? It is in this house, Mr. Speaker, it is in this house that my own brother, Dr. Tuforsin, came and read their own budget. And they stated all the primary macro indicators in this house. GDP was growing 5.6% before he took over. Inflation had been reduced from 54.1 to 22.9 before he took over. Primary reserve, everything. We are running a defensive sector economy. Yeah. If you don't understand what is called a defensive economic market sector, I'm explaining to you today. The systematic risk index of our market is far less than that. So there's a lag period. Ghanaians are enjoying what NPP government did. Yeah. Stop lying to them. Yeah. Can you calculate any of your contributions as a percentage of our GDP today? Tell us. We are tired of lies and the deception and the propaganda.
That's right.
I am not blaming you, you've not done anything. You are building your you are doing rearrangement, calibration and configuration. We agree. But you haven't done anything.
That's right.
NDC government has not done anything yet.
That's right.
We are here to feel the impact of anything you are going to do. Stop lying to Ghanaians.
Yeah.
What have you added to the economy? Tell me. What have you added? Mr. Speaker,
Okay, I'm sure.
Mr. Bright.
Momo Kroba.
Mejoso.
And then some doson, but then and comastica kudi. Ghana for a tuja edemanano. I say a jumapa NPP a boy no. And I'm so amazamino kasei. O mine e koyena and this grano be 1 year ye at the pan and this year.
Okay. Ma mencha ya phone na. Sa question no. Me yi anu ye de afiri wono an nsam o kan yin mu. Na mato aso. O se be se bosumi dumienu ni no. E de pa na ndisi aye. Second anum to no. O se inflation no. Wo mo de free 53. And de ba 23. And inflation yes say. 3.8 into the NDCI. And yet the NDCI no. The question again is why not the inflation you could do 53? I am more NPP now could do 53.
So more to the sign.
Now what the corner the sign at my ben wabo. One up by any ho. And there was a command about from more no. Till the amendis and why I want to know. Move $2 no. Na ye 4 cedi. And come maintain yes when you be am was ya monochrono. But the move free. Some maintain and come Jimmy. And I'm on the course 17. And I'm sorry Sudija NDC 15. Mobile 2 inflation. And I'm bepeja and I'm on the call 53. And I'm muja hot 23. And this ban was a year. Say I am from so many not dollar near by near 1 cedi. Yantimia maintain 1 cedi no. And they call 4 cedi. This time the Yasuan Yansa one man you say Sansa Yasi will be a woman you no. So why you want to say Bobby from what this year? No was a son one was sacra one who's the one among 2 wood to name. And to be a free hour fiasiano. The uncle ye caught so wabra bomudima wono. What fun of fallas in a woman. Say I had me drew ya men answer me shiasi. And then the mamma shiasi and your failure may bear some nante, 7 contribute. And this year's lesson to us a yeno. Say Timmy a maintaining one, and now the other costro, name me at the paper form, and until $5 now muja 15 no, and what the about 10. Or before inflation now muja 20 no, 3 no, what the about 3.5. 81 on say. Ebium and the Yama Wama Yenu, Ebi and the Disui, sticker. Munya she, but on another breath, not stickers I will say, or more I be the minting so munya she. The better, and the Abaya will buy ya 1 year she no. And next the canoe feeling a car petrol no feeling say. And the say no the coffee. So only so almost sorry no more can say I know the magana for bufu ye pano. I know the magana for bufu ye pan.
So I didn't come at Ghana for change him.
Ghana for Ben would yet even 38.24 no crano. One more benefit. Because sans say I echo so a man near memoir book a crack at the magana for no and your party be and qua. Obi no party card at the cotton. Obi no okra party card de koto fuel. Obi no okra party card add inflation no money ade $1 you wade kokoto. Aye nyina na ye kosa Ghana fo de kodidwa. Enti obi enkrudi wono seka no na manyosfo. Enti se wo begira wo na wo ye ne se ya. Na wo mamanyof Ghana fo abufu a wo mo de hyew de ko ye koto abadi ti NPP no wo sa huru wo mo hye wo mo bufuo. The better na 8 years. Want me am mo bibia. Bibia be fan 8 years bia no ni nyina ko soro ebia no a wotimi de ba fom eno tina Ghana fo nkoma na edie ni se obia no obetimi aba be de tene ma so me bo wanti bi Ghana fo nkoma na edie no
yes Ghana de se enema no kokodru level bia aban bi ba wontimi nte so biem
anya de oteso na ma musoro na akọ
etimi pa no anya dwadifo no mutrimo ode a samre kanema no so atete kura
wo foka ya ne agya ya fo passenger kai Uba wunu amutim ade na Mahama obeye anya de ne ye ba bete bibia so said yakwa koduru sa wo sa ba me beba bedutum but then you and I ye be dia dance say sa shi ni nyina no na yota hunu sa ye wa ba bia won de otumi ba ama ne ma boso etete and indeed ye dance de master kanka sayere a wo kodwom. Oh sorry sticker so worry I dance die ade ma na busuafo ni nuanom ane ade a wo mu kodwoma o mu nim se de dwa so sitie wo mu de compare last 2 years o mu nimu the better and they know I'm not surprised about what sticker is doing because they just ended primaries now also no Kennedy afa and some kasia o kan ne ade no eti ebema ba o miari ni ye no sticker say ne ebe de say amanyoko no begina to mo support say you have to start from somewhere now can sem ya animu
na sticker kra no manya ne ntie se wanya careful a 2028 parliament won't go home.
Na sa afenyo markings kura yes wo mo page eye minority leader na free nsem ai wo bia wo yi wani mu bia na wo mu hu ye se wo ye Kenya Japan enkrofo ne de wo ye danger cause the card wo mo sha ase de wo ba bi ukwa awa Muhammad wo abahu wo ba bi yes wo ne wo betu no de ba anya ne ti sa the card ye ba mo anya mwanwa eti awoso wo ye bibie ama fe party supporters no ehu se wo ye bibi ade amomo but what you are doing you know Ghana for ankasa na enye delegate wa NPP mu no wom de ye delegate e wo Ghana ha nyina na e be kwa akoto aba no momu de makoyi ne emope obeka ne emope but the real delegate oye Ghanaian na wonya the benefit of John Ramani Mahama amamuo no ono kwa wonim se de okosi akoto na ba e wo hono and untumi nyim wa chinji wanye di obedja parliament abeka na ye no kra etida bia meka me se aban bia aba no see inflation what the two people so no abegina parliament no reading fefe inflation yes a maame minua utie mie ko anu tum kodwom edwom ni inflation no inflation bia ni wo people so the only baby person nyina ya tro and me the NDC ka wo people so nyina no me mfa nya hwe edwom no nam kwa me ko hu se ampa se NDC ka no kra ana wo mu twa tro and indeed wo mu ka no kra edwom no bibia chese wo mu ka no kra enye people so keke. So I don't believe people inflation. Me believe me bottom edwa no so
and the other name before still now womu insist say enema so ntete was a Ghana for mu kwa akoto aba na hu say enema so ate but una ye koto o sie koto aba ma no o still na because of propaganda enti
the mira bi me kan ha de kire o say I will be surprised me who politician bi wo heaven ya ebia na nyankopon na favor no because eye kanka wo politics mu e wo so wo twatro position de wom ni ne anim nyina wo so wo ka eti no kure kakra tro kakra se ne be ya obebrande wo government nsa wo nya hwe na be ma ne supporters na etie no no a wo mo ye vulnerable na asabe wo mo nya omadwo so mbeke nkanye na wo mo mfa no kure nya no kure no no wo mbeje ato no mbeto abade ama no so politics is evil game nipa mako pe na wo mu a wo mdo omadwo omadwo so ombeye no omaye ne yie a wo mgu so a wo mo ye eti wo ba bia so opposition as NPP se de o mu sidi ntwo epeja o man ne makoduru ye na ndisi bae within 12 months said you walk ye bibia dwiri bibia ba fom ene me koyie ane ade no the brighter to officers te come in parliament wo no me bo NDC abaso eh sene kan premise nko awie etie wo so ye bibi mo hu se ene ma nkoyie but eno no it doesn't lie between wo sticker or mouth any minority no eye yen Ghanaians say kodwomuo no ene enim what is going on the market.
I am before not to also dinkomo kwadwo mpon mu nyina kan but then wo de yentie we mra wo enkomo na wo madi no Ghana for esan tuja de mane wo mo mentene ma ase nturi yentie mra ne koba ensema die che ne sawani ensem me ena me kacho.
I won't be even surprised that the inflation will go to zero. I wouldn't be surprised that the inflation will go to zero. They've been so good, they've been so tactical with everything on paper. CD is depreciating on paper, inflation is going down on paper, everything, interest rate on paper. But the reality on the ground is not. They can celebrate inflation rate on paper. But as far as we are concerned, the inflation rate that is hitting our pocket, hitting our daily lives is different. And it is even worse than it was 23. Quite recently, they were beating and flogging some drivers and mates, forcing them to reduce transportation because supposedly fuel is down. But it is not only the cost component of the fares are not only fuel. The spare parts. Have you checked the engine prices just now? So expensive than it used to be before. When it was even 23, it was better than now that it is 3. So what is the 3? What are we doing with the 3? What are we doing with the 3? Today, roasted plantain, cocoa, has now been moved to 7 cedis. Just a piece of it. The granite they used to sell with the roasted plantain, which is 1 cedi, is now 2 cedis. And even the sizes have reduced. That is what I take, Kofi Brookman.
Well, as I'm hearing that figure, I'm also getting a lot of messages from people who are saying that what they see on the market doesn't exactly correspond with that. I'm sure when the government statistician appears before us, we'll have an opportunity to interrogate the data that they have and match it to what is really happening in the market. We have told you earlier that what the government is doing to achieve these inflationary targets is not actually tackling the supply side. It's actually sterilizing a lot of money from the system. You recall that around October, we told you that the government has sterilized about 60 billion Ghana cedis from the system. In other words, that money is being sucked out of the economy, so people who want to use it to, conduct transactions can't even access it. So it's one thing they're doing it on the demand side and telling you, therefore, that inflation is down to 3.8. But when you go to the market, you see the real rate.
Okay, I'm sure.
Kwakwe.
I say I the okasa ni kan kasa en boso me frɛ MP. I say time na ye 23 no. And now I 3.8 no. MPP time na better than now.
Minim babia sa NPP MPC any a few of their supporters no baby omudi omudwa free.
It seems MPP ni sa wo ba be ye adwuma mo a ye tew tenase ni a chew ntro twakwa ma fa so twantro na Ghana fo age watum.
In fact minim the kind of marketer wo mo koso asoma wo mo yerenom wo mo mate any wo mo no mo te e mo kodi dwade ma wo.
Onimade no pans wonka.
Enti divers asema wo kan. Spare parts boa koso go to Aboso kan. Enya me na me kan. Aboso kan spare parts dealers association wo mo jom training. Wo say India na wo moto no ko ton 150,000 no and the ton 10,000 and na me kon and wo mo say bibie no wa boso kan ya o mo nte so if said dollar na ba fom enti o mo ni akonya bia biam so wo mbetumu na momu o mbete wo mo ne maso enti wo kan wo de ko sha aboso kan wo say eye pipa so inflation pipa so the brighter me dabia meka memu a mepe eye royal umbrella nanse na menya Yasmin maka no so ahwese no so de pa the brighter royal umbrella no 5k no na me ton 150 na dan kwakufu ad peso o mse ne bi ton 160 but me de bia na me ton na 50 ene inflation na wo se eye pipa so no na en reflect we botom the brighter me babia me to samu yi 10 cedis free so de amame enti na me ton 140 cedis enti reflect we botom we pipa so ana
cedi yo se swa
esa but at least 10 cedis no mitimi de toji awade beef me toji awade 5 cedis na to anwa 5 cedis meya nwa mu sesia royal umbrella no so de steam kan kra bedi enti the brighter de no wo to mu na ne ton 150 no ene ebinam djoma wo mu ton 60 and 50 mebo ana the brighter anwa ne wo mu ton 250 no ene 140 wo mu ton mebo ana asa memoa the brighter send na ne si fele gas send na ne si topetru enti adie na was on na medika na meka some no when it come to inflation na wo mo ba no presenting on people no so hey wo ye nyankopɔ kra na be present ya menye ho na me hwe wo people no so me pesa me kofom na me am si dwom na mu se ampa there wo kind of people so no it has something to do with the market how it is going and indeed some market one mona say the medical kanu me inflation real e wo me botom enti me nim sa mrahye bedwani we wo mo nsema mo keka and na inflation kura no na eno e wo 23 no na ye na dollar na e wo 17 kura no na ye se ba fom wo be kasa sem ni bia ye wo nsuro nyame na wo bo nokre wa bo nokre asenuam na atro ni nkontompo wasi na henchew na ade na tena konwa paso won kwa na be make sentiment ana wo wadwene nya adwuma na wo baifo na be make sentiment so wadwene nya adwuma na proman ne ho do na wo de wo so de nokre ba yi wadwuma de beta wonim de nka so mo ka no ewom and this buy wo ma ya ade dollar no from 15 and 17 to 10 de wo ma bo modern sanso na fuel price so atete inflation 23 ne eja no mo de aba 3.5 o ma ya de ne mum no enema no bo no se de so ati atete no ana wo senka kofom kakra enti no de aban no momoden esan se eho de wonya ade
o kan se wo be ka se ene edwoma ma ban abo no homoden ti 2028 won goto aba ma no
na onim senka wo mu hu nyansa kan se de me kan ya ana ka be ma Ghanaian electorate na hu se sa John Mahama watete ne ma no so na mum sanka petrol kura no ke betimi aton 5 cedi per liter anu o no mo de me anyeye sa me royal umbrella ya me toye sanka betimi abeton 100 Ghana cedis ye ana John Mahama onyeye anu atete so nso sa eswa di better sana nka Ghana fo be hyase adwene but ubeja na uka se o munye hwe 17 per $1 no eye che 10 cedi per $1 di better. Why now uko chesa masi how will you explain this to your grandmother? Sama me ya fa broni sika no a near the Baku to one ma. Just a gun, I am your face, can Cofonia Brema 17, and then an energy branding. Oh, maybe. And name me, ya folk for a $1 American dollar and Baku did not say. Ya folk for near Brema could do any at their tour. Nansono, the Anaya 17 or Yache a dream. The brighter. Obeden what says us some women, the actual nana. Woman, me a sub won't go school da. No person what yes, so 10 cedi. No, per $1 no, and no more yet. Name 1 cedi per 17 in a year. We understand now quite yes, a man, and sub one go school. Eti oba ne ba koye BC. And answer was ya. O free say onya aggregate 20 aggregate 30 no and waba no mode nemo de onya sanga de get no wa anya de nsa na tie enti se wonwem na se bedwafo wo mokaka kodwo ponkroma wo mo nso mo kanyina ayekọ to da ho abubu asam no inflation na bua no wodwom na wie motena wa ma mo ye kokwa sa mo antimi anya adwuma obi ba ye disimani tata de aya adwuma na wie afei na mo bebu ho akonta
obi say because of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia omakwakoyi ni ntino entronko no mbetwa because Kwabie no abetimi defend Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Enti ne wosa mo bon buga se ya.
Mame mu akanfo be we nkyerɛw. Wo se de odi akire sua de odi kan nante. Enti a complete asasam na wo kan. Wo mpo. Enya sa. Sa mu dwade wi a mo bene enya sa. Enu nti ye be sita toilet de amamo. Agogroshi. Sa mu dwade wi a mo bene. Enti wo mpo. E wo se wo sua wo leader no. Because ono de mo ko. One what the moba, it is said you see an niema, send you see Casano. I was also follow trend no. Since some who free our trend no pa. Now, quite say what time will lead no. On Passa one never called the abomu. And yam one needs a quenyam. Now you can't be fast so it didn't crab to a quemu, then you met me upon coming in.
Quick one, you could tell some Mampani John Dramani Mahama at the Atuja. Afa maybe a chemu any abamu penifo na danko akufuado aban sase nyina akufuado mutoni nyina but your mama didn't come out from quick one you go chimra
public lands. We set up a committee. They presented their report and we've cancelled several leases that had not been processed yet. These were public lands that were just distributed and looted. I mean, people just carved up and bought for cheap. I mean, lands, there are people who buy a land, government land at 150,000 cedis and turn around and sell that same plot of land for $2 million. And these are lands in prime areas. And yet if you look at the value that they are giving and how much people buy them for and turn around and resell them, it just doesn't make sense at all. And so I want to bring something to Parliament about divestiture of public property. If you want to sell public property, you would need the approval of the representatives of the people.
Okay, Abusia, director, answer I wamwana wabubusa say John Mama also second coming or babe de no ebiani eti ukotie Florence obi nim nyum bia ose mame nyansa me hia wonim de ni nyansa ose wo maya woni nim de ni nyansa no sa omman no hwiase na sa nyankopon paw no to ose nyansa to ne pono ene wo fra tete kwa sa wo momra no medi nyansa aduane director da bia me kase wuko nkoto dwanim na wo bom paye e de ama Ghana kandifo a ense kwatenten fama wo mo de Ghana kandifo hia ni nimde ni nyansa esense se wajibi dada na nkosan kwatenten de man so nkoso anya mampanyina ene mawu wode ni jimi ni bekum saa but so wo manyankopon bo no manimde ni nyansa na afekura na obedi wa akonwa no so a mo ho hen ha wo mo the better this is the kind of leader here hwehwe anu na ye nie wo ya hemfunu mu o ama hemfunu bi di nsem eton asieye eton school park eton ba bia begu bola eton ba bia wo siesi kuro ni dwa na o maton ene ne o sabia kuro to o diabetes ni o masichi yade o digu I'm not laughing at them because abro no mu di ntina make sa anti ene si enyennya mampanyini bia wo hu nyansa enough say e wo so ya dwene daachi If you didn't possible in one hand entering no, and American him say the next 10 years, the next 20 years, say I'm pessimist. Yet the Kromani at China Fasha said the 50 years they are told, so one would develop football. Said the next 50 years, no, on person better reas so. Oben sa agro one. Now Morocco ya almost just say investment on football. One under 17, under 20, one national team, Yakoya Africa Cup. Sanity.
yɛyɛ no long term to unya panyini a wɔdwene daakye ho a that's the most important thing John Dramani Mama Nana Akufo-Addo ba yi wɔn ato asase na sɛ de wɔ Kenya ban sase obi tumi kɔtɔ no 1.5 billion no akɔtɔ no best dollars no bodin no akɔtɔ abaya dia na watɔ no fofofo no nso akɔtɔ no kakaka na no so hu ba sese ba ye ɛboa na binom de tɔ Ghana aban na japade bas nti for now no ɔde mmra ebe ko man Ghana mmra hye bedwa fie wo ye aban adwuma ani a aban mu nipa uni kwan sansa sene nyina ya for future use bisa hu se abra kwa me nkroma nom flight ranger John Rollins nom John Ejekum Kufuor nom Atames nom John Mahama nom aba ya no no mo fum wo man na japade ne nsase no se brato a di brata ene ye benya bi sansa sene de da ho na na bire bi dura ye di state house yadi bi sisi office ye yadi bi sisi school so yadi bi bie niema wuduro nyina de ma oman no enti ye ton na daachi ye bekwa kosi ye nsase ne ye saa njapade ne hospitals ne ade ne ye bekwa kosi no opoani ana eti wo hia leader a wodwen kwankan wodwen kwachire na wotumi atena se no wodwen no hu se this is how I was on mine I was yeko so this kind of emrano de di brighter say John Dramani Mahama anya hwebie mu mpo a medium ye okay pa especially sama ko no sabe ye no kwaya ye wura mutu fom agudie na dan Akufo-Addo ba ye wosemai na onim de ko so ye sa na ma wanyina na dan Akufo-Addo because naturally no say ye kase nkade obewu kane a ye wo na dan Akufo-Addo ba bia woduru 80 and na wodo sori bia na ya adom na adom wo e na ade asori sanse wo so wamma ye nia ye mfinsia duoson wanya twam eko 80 tinkade na wo so ye ne se obebo modern no no tintim san hyehyeye ye mpene mo bia nto aban sase ye mpene mo bia nto fom agudie e wo kwaya wodom ba na dan Akufo-Addo asebe enkoje na ewu no woso mfa ho yensa kwaye no yenton sase no yemfom no sebrato akwada ne ba no so no me ma ho me nananom ho omemu nipa ho yeni woma no kane sense individuals no na yemmo modern famranton enti I think say nyankopon ade boa Ghana fo ade ye ya do say yensa nko back yenkoto ba mfama John Dramani Mahama ne ready o wode maye no na indeed ene no o prove second questions no ebinie
quick one yetie sama attorney general so ede atudwa afa operation recover all loot recover ebedin komo.
When it comes to oral, there are issues being raised about the fact that accusations being raised about the fact that we are cutting deals in the oral cases. Your Excellency, oral is going very, very well. The prosecutions which are being led by my deputy and the Director of Public Prosecutions are going very, very well. However, I want to put it on record, and the National Intelligence Bureau will bear me out. No docket has come here that has been compromised in any way. No deal, no plea arrangement has been entered into with anybody who has committed an offense that comes within the ambit of the oral briefs that we have received from the NIB and are prosecuting. We have 16 dockets under review, and then we will be putting those ones through the process of critical scrutiny, so that when we notice that there are loopholes in the investigations, we'll tell the investigative authorities to bring us more evidence, as we are doing now with the National Service prosecution. So I want to assure the Ghanaian public, using this platform, that we have not entered into any plea negotiations with anybody that committed an offense that comes within the remit of oral.
Okay, I'm sure. Ayesa aya akrutinga eyeni aye aban lawyer panyini waba be yinsema no. Onse nanse no no omo be ba bonten say plea bargaining ni nyina ne say me free say yase my boss state ne ka na asam na elko no ketache pre ne kankan be ko atia me a no answer jametimi afechire emram ewum na me no makwa akwata asem say mama mpe 1 billion bi mamo na asam ne yentwa so ne ade so enipa no bi hyase di ho ya ko na no ye wa ha e na wo ko Methodist asafo ewo oboase a so ofopon be kan say yenyi sika no obi a wo bia yenyi ye wie say nipa ne nsa mfa no ntu afiase I supported it na komesi ye ko jiska no backstage ni amasa nipa na fom wa kwa kodidi ade brata de obi abente obewi o man sika no de akoto treasure bin no odi hu mfaso a oba ne ye no a no akoyi sika boten no de aba na mfaso no de no afa but ye sika no ye san prosecute nipa no ne mom no enu mom ayense na ho eje ye me de se aban lawyer panyini aba no abe clear sa ansem we se no plea bargaining wom no obi antra se nko hyehyeye wom nam so a wom hwe na kwampapa mu no wom ahwe na wom prosecute obi a wo som prosecute ni bia Dominica Krutinga Ayini me kai wo se uni 8 years aka 3 years enti keka ho e wo ora ne nsem no de me kan no
quick one yentumika na nanse wo mahwa anse cocoa farmers omu cocoa no ai wo ti cocoa no kwa yento na so what some minority ni din komo say na John Mahama oba na kuafo ba na ni adan na say no wayi kuafo ama say obi kura say koto ba sie ya cocoa farmers nyina be to ba tia John Mahama enso no be to dwa no say ayensem bebre but then okopiem e wo cocoa border wo mo kasamafo wanya butre biebie nsema dientia ama cocoa no ense ayi kakra ebi wo a yento na ekwa no cocoa na wo mato no from last year de besi this year no wa bru ni nyina so acheche nsem to quick one yenye konya na yenko na yentie ni nsem no
the problem cocoaboard niska mo de beto cocoa ana se problem ne yeden ade na cocoa farmers complain bebre say omatic cocoa ba say mo metoy what's happening
okay you mean something in Kaya
metewun kapa
okay the obi mamincha na mamincha for ni chichu ni cocoa for obi the kind of mekan say intended no I don't want it to appear say ABR a staff of cocoaboard any cocoa piani and a for no then actually because I've always maintained the relevance of cocoaboard by extension the existence because of the existence of a cocoa piani. And on the basis of that no a dear cocoa piani no from and the bonus no young at cocoaboard and so you're born your day you're born angel so. But the important say a memory of her would be which near the extreme. Would be the first point in the say, and yet entirely the case. Say, cocoa carefully nara as at last year. We dear no tongue cocoa or your day. Unya a yesika. The can say because the Osho cocoa bodankasa in projection a year from a year 2025-26 season. From August last year, be a season, up to January, you project 650,000. You to me up to about 580,000. So this is about 580,000. It should clearly tell you, say, no cross ada inheritance. Cocoa carefully now, cotton cocoa as last year, the entire wonka. However,
Jerome, you found one after the other. Oka Asat last year, you mean time a main crop season ABA in October?
Yes.
In October now, okay. And you are saying, say, a free October air bano, mutimi to cocoa nibi.
Yes, from that time out to January, cocoa yato, ya grade SC ammonia is around 580,000.
Metric tons. And another target for this cocoa season here saying
650,000 metric tons.
It is a more a little over 100,000. What's a motoka?
You will bear 70,000.
70,000. What's a motoka?
Yes.
To meet the target.
Yes, to meet the target.
In a free January air banner, Adentina Afemuntimi entoi.
Okay, so Obi, they are SCNA. Now, say one, the advantage from the syndication I say, unya some form of sika obeka say a ball. Out of the sika no. LBCs no eto kuku no. Into even on the international market, price in the $1 crown na we don't care because ye chini ayedin. Atom kuku no asanso enya a secured funding run no system so we don't care. However, the cost in 2024 invitation. Now, crop na yetono, and a cocoa dino, funded by a year of Tikano, and now say Brunina winning the Dijana or day, or days, And here is the case, the moment a beans, so a better perform. The person is expecting, say, also that adjustable bonus to reflect the price on the international market. Quite unfortunately, in Ghana, a bonus here from 2024, now almost 12,000 to now 4,100 US dollars. About 4,100 US dollars.
That is the price on the world markets is here.
4,100 US dollars.
A free 12,000.
Yes, from 2 years ago, now to about 4,000. In fact, as of last year, yes, a bonus crampono. We declared an FOB of 7,200 US dollars. 7,200 US dollars.
Yes.
Out of which I am paying 70%, constituting a year $5,040. Say a new claim in chefa. But today, even claim in chefa a year $5,040 US dollars. On the international market, it is trading at a year 4,100 US dollars. Which clearly means on the face value of it, over a year $1,000 or so a day, almost about $1,000 every store.
Yes.
Now, Brunino are also cool and say, Ghana, you've not even adjusted your price to reflect what is on the international market. International no obone a day, so. And this has even motivated other countries. Say omodi omuko mpoye day, ejeba Ghana. 70,000 a year outstanding now will be here kano. Obekum in natural sense in a day, FM. Because there is that possibility, say, other cocoa from other jurisdictions about the room because Oko Cote d'Ivoire for announcing officially, but corporate is not a ton cocoa. They are selling it, even in fact below the 4,100 US dollars now. Meaning, say, Ghana's cocoa still remains the most expensive on the African continent. In Brunino, he is not ready. But, and also, Obi, are we to go and accept a bono to come and trade it, say, the money and clear for Nana? And now say, it's important for us to find a lasting solution. And I look into the matter holistically and find a solution now. A win-win affair, especially for a cocoa farmer. And
the Oka solution, Jerome, you say before the season opened in October 2025, more announce price and modebeto cocoa every farmers ho. Good. Season is still in session because years are 2025-2026 season into a new way and along the line. International world market price I drop it significantly. Ama continuing to pay the price you announced in October no. Sisia akwa den ama buying. That's the argument, right?
So Obi, to even make it quite simple for you and say, say a year other LBCs, your license buying companies are one and yes, a liquidity issue, and that's a municika. But instead, the obeto if you create home po at the price now a buy and review yena. Off take a bang in a year ready say over day
or at that price
beyond a year 4,100 no. So as I said, off take a bang. And even if say a buy. They decide, they say, okay, I am purchasing a year the remaining of cocoa na iodine, akana. Then it means on the bag, a buy should look for more than a year 2,300 US dollars. Because the reason, NFL, before say cocoa nimpo and do the point of a year shipment, not the cost involved, a year 6,300 US dollars. And no one say a buying a making a profit. Another cocoaboard is making profit. But the cost to even break even, that is enough. Beyond that, Obisa says she says season the Bianca you do know the light crop or more pay up money
yes.
What should say obe cruisy season the money you are entering into another season. And here is the case you say Sana a born echo. That is the tragedy. Quite unfortunately for us, because of decisions taken by previous administrations, we were unable to secure a year syndication. Because with syndication, it provides some form of security for you. Why then? What sign no contract in a year? It's a beco senior, and found. But Siciano, Bonino, ye of the cano, and enough say, a woman say, there be a dream. I can put the times a many of them. Men talk. I just a wire then. What swam? But the most important thing so so finding a better solution is what a year cocoaboard and government a year then can want them. But it is not about saying because we are compare a year some form of a year to go and pay. Near Omatona a war on a day. Payments are started. Because funds have started coming in now, LBCs now, Kakano Modi Omokan, they are making payments.
And no, yeah, Modi Omoko buy Mama Omochit say Mubetu Omoka later, no. Omona starting receiving payment, that's what you're saying.
Of course, so Omona, Omena a direct off taker. But Omoko pay almost source of funding,
that's for the LBCs, no.
Let me explain, I told you, sir, the off taker now tells you. The LBC pona the fund no the ban fire den farmer no na onto kuku ne den and farm brain. And all these companies now are direct source of funding any free obstacle no. They were able to buy and pay the farmers now on the day buy and some of these companies are still having money, but the issue say at what price?
Oh, cotton at what price?
At what price?
Yeah, but say mostly no. Say more fixed price for the season now. Na say enye spot price na ya mu usua. Mostly you take into consideration potential, shift beba in the world market price, no, and they arrive at the final price for the season. Meboa. Into why should a drop hit you that much? I'm I
know, sir, you and I know futures contract.
Yes.
And I say, cocoaboard say they are forward sales.
Sure.
So when you do a forward sales, what it means is that you have undertaken a certain contract with the other party. Say, I am buying at this price and I'm supplying you this XYZ amount of tonnage.
Yes.
And I said tons.
Yes.
So be as it may, whatever that happens, in the case of appreciation in terms of bono and a decline in it, you don't care. And that is the benefit. So it provides some form of what? Hedging for you. Whereby if the price goes down, you're secured. But that has not been the case as at 2024, 25, 2025, 26.
But 2025, 26, why was it not the case? I didn't know more forward sales because 2025, 2026 was under you.
Yes, of course. It wasn't the case because over the total, a rollover of 333,768 at a certain price of $2,600. Unfortunately for you, in 2024-25, sell 2,600 contracts are expanded from 2023. A bono could due $3,100. That was what was even declared. So even if that was what was declared, then it means that there's disparity in terms of a bono then ankasa. Going forward, what also an increment in price again. to declare an FOB of even 7,200. Obi, ask yourself, as a lawyer, what signed a contract, and the price at that time was 2,600. So would you say, sir, Obaji Aya was no, and now say you obey that one and sign on to a new contract to purchase it at $7,200. So now the off-taker comes in and say, okay, what I'm going to do is say, supply me the contract I had with you. And now a money 2,600. I am taking that one, and I will also give you some money and sign a limited contract with you for the new crop season. I will turn because you yourself you don't have money because you are unable to access a syndication. Until you have no other reason than to succumb what the person is telling you.
But the other question would be, sir, Argentina for the 2025-2026 crop season, you know, Adena want to me access syndication.
Want to me access it because one, an outstanding, we are not also the free honor. In terms of that is why the chief executive, Dr. Ranjabi, took a certain bold decision, whereby in 2025 last year, a cocoa bond, and a cocoaboard, also Uchia, but no budgetary allocation was made in respect of that. He quickly has to mobilize money and pay that just so to restore confidence in the finances of cocoaboard. And I can tell you, say, the report that even came out from other stakeholders and partners, and then say, now cocoaboard is coming back on track in terms of its finances.
Yeah, but Jerome, my question is no answered. I didn't want to me access a syndicated loan for this crop season 2025-2026. I didn't want to
so Ukwa syndicated loan. I used to say what in a bank, Aqua Pesca will be so Chicago. So if you are presenting your payslip from a year, that's a payslip now what they call them. It is not anything to write home or to tell anything. Do you think that the bank on the basis of that will say will be federal?
Okay. Na cocoaboard books in here, international books on Fankoje syndicated.
How can you do that?
That's fine. But the other thing, so I'm saying you opted for off-takers, no advances sika mamo, namo di ato e di amamo. That's the option you adopted, Meboa.
Yes, so we followed what was there because one, set the careful. The other positive aspect of it was say a bit a free cocoaboard because you are not further compounding the situation of the cocoaboard. Because obviously when you go in for a syndication, it is traditionally there.
Interest,
it will attract some interest.
Sure.
It will attract some interest.
Sure.
Meanwhile, you are burdened already financially.
Yes.
So if you will be able to go through that, however, the chief executive had sounded a warning to say there was no way this financing model can go beyond 2025-2026.
Yeah, and
it is feasible.
And we have to go back to the syndicated model, all right?
So if you go back to the syndication, it is a subject to discuss.
That's
if
fine.
you are not going back to the syndication, so any other financing model,
that's fine.
Discussing all these issues.
That's fine. But Jerome, see the matter at hand, see and say cocoa farmers are taking cocoa. Watch them why it's not financially prudent for government to continue to buy at the announced rate at the beginning of the season because of the ACL or international market, no eso. It is here no farmers no and yet another decision men are buying be take. Is it say more consider say okay, ye ka say ye bema mu say for 2025-2026 season. But in the middle of the season you drew light crop no afi ye hu say ye ntimi nkoso ntua say ska ne mamo inti ye beti mu sika ne so. Is that what you would be telling farmers no? And I know na say amo dwen ho ana say bia mo beti ebo ne so.
Obi, two quick points. One, Over Ghana, we don't have a price for a light crop. We don't have a price for a main crop. And you know, sa beans we now your tono same price.
Yes.
Number 2, cocoa board. We don't say that cocoa board to say your share, you know, on the international market a bona then aquaform. So on the basis of that, you know, the next day the chief executive announced say a bona aquaform, so cocoa board I then at a bonus. No, we don't do that. So we have a committee, a producer price review committee, a comprising of farmers, a Ministry of Finance, Cocoa Board, Bank of Ghana, hauliers or transporters, the LBCs and other stakeholders. Now, on my then, actually charging say, okay, so on the basis of ABCD, so we think say a body could say a bois and I say embois. So since our committee, you know, a better answer no. Cocoa Board cannot do anything in respect of all cast of bosso and answer on table. So as we speak, a bona a wohono, it remains.
A bona remains. But Cocoa Board ain't mean to cocoa at sa bona because that's a Cocoa Board beboka. Ain't yes, a bona remains on paper, but Cocoa Board cannot buy cocoa at that price based on in Chemua or the Amayeno. Ain't even if the committee yo majuma. 2 things may happen. One, and it's the price will be maintained, baby. I wanna, and now say, mobile so even maintaining it at baby I wanna crown may not make financial sense because mobile boka in the other atia na mobile so, and maybe you may have to quickly tell farmers no na obia adwimunya ne fine meboa because the committee can only bring under the circumstance. A 1 out campaign the committee in deliberations moaba. Say a born was say a test because yen timin koson tono at the prevailing price. That is the truth. Based on in Chemua,
and only a decision of the committee. It is not the decision, or it doesn't lie in the mouth of Jerome to say me predict say never day. Say never say it is not the decision.
But listening to Jerome, no, I can reasonably come to the conclusions that based on in Chemua Jerome, their brain, you know. That committee can only come out with one conclusion. Say, yente buone so kakra. Say they are buying so ebetimi a breaky even impo based on commitment on off takers, no. Ewo. Because it's a commitment with the off taker. You cannot sell below beyond the world market price. Yes,
So that is a proposition being made by Obi, lawyer Obi of Asempa.
Yeah, based on reasons, Jerome Ediamame.
That is fine. You are entitled to your own opinions. So what I say.
Producer price committee, you know, is that committee in place? Like, must set our committee, you know, up or more?
Yeah, the committee is there.
Really?
Yeah, the committee is there.
Are they like, sir, dream also more dream who the solution ebano or must start it and as I feel no more here.
So committee, you know, it's not there. I have seen there have been discussions ongoing, but as to when the committee is going to sit to finally come out with its findings or its decision, I cannot tell.
Yeah, but that is a problem. That is a problem, Gerald, and I'm not blaming you, but that is a problem because we are in the middle of a crisis. A farmers, no, at your cocoa, a cocoa producer price would have to sit down and review the status quo now. Omunyantna simple, and a yenim time crop mobetnase. Ain't it really? What should the farmers do?
No, so discussions. I've told you, say discussions. I then I consider be almost every day, every minute, every hour, every second. The chief executive is on the move.
Yeah, but the chief executive cannot determine the price. I was saying, because our cocoa price review committee, and it has not gotten there. Until really, there is no end in sight as we speak. Well, you need time to more tenacity.
So, Obi, you can be more. Say, you see, dying war, a demo and son, I day, and son, a
that's true.
So, which means that you need to plan properly. So, before even the committee possibly was set, Nipa a year as you did done so. is the chief executive, and the chief executive has been engaging all these stakeholders. All these stakeholders. So I wouldn't be surprised say if the committee should sit tomorrow, the committee will come up with a decision, say in ABIA then, and I say near corner. But as we speak, at the end here the chief executive, it will make sure that one a president cuckoo, no more come no. Their money is being what paid to those people.
That is a more present to Mukoa, Yama or much sit, no more aketu ane beko.
Obviously, of course.
But will be our own presenting
that's
of course. But will be our own presenting the and so go na ready no. Or no there was say or chain kakra, right?
The burden. But to cocoa in Manile. It's true. There wouldn't be a single bean.
Yes.
Obeka a car parcel.
That's true.
And I say,
but farmers maybe should prepare themselves to say Ebi reduced rate based on Nkomoa producer price committee in the Beba, right?
You see, Obi, cross them and say, you just put a fact forward. The fact is there. But as to those who will use the fact and take a decision, I'm not part.
I agree.
That's what I say.
I agree.
I'm not part. So you only communicate the fact there. But the committee or those people who, upon the basis of the fact, will use it to make informed decisions.
More informed decisions. Yeah. I was only thinking, sir, we have to prepare the minds of the farmers about the obvious. I mean, a post-dated reality. That is what will come, because based on the explanations, cocoa board cannot sell, and as a buy cocoa, go and sell and make losses. And also another whole argument into the price cocoa board would buy should reflect what is pertaining on the world market. And that means I announce at the beginning of this crop season, so that is really the reality.
I'm not willing to rebut your presumption.
That's fine. Jerome, my say at least it brings some clarity to the issues. The farmer be 8 year not what why what is happening. Into Bibiania, ye be sign ababidin komobio.